Hello, welcome to Wizard of AutieHD. I'm Farron, I use they them pronouns, and I am so excited for today's video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a reading wrap-up because it's the end of August, which means it's time to tell you about all the books I read this month. If you want to see that, stick around. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. My social medias are linked in the description box down below. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, Pinterest, linked down below for you. If you decide to follow me, thank you. And let's get into today's video. Before we begin, I do want to have disclaimers at the beginning so that there's no confusion. I do read dark romances, so if you want to read them as well, I would definitely check for the trigger warnings before you read them. Sometimes I put them in the description box and sometimes I forget. And sometimes I put some of them down and there's more that I forgot to add to it because I'm going based off what I remember from the book. And so you might want to just check before you hit buy. Number 2. I usually do like long form, not really long form. I sit and I record my thoughts on each book separately. I forgot to do that this month because I was kind of busy, so I didn't do that this month, so it's going to be like one video of all my thoughts on the books. And number 3, I do have a fan on because this light's kind of hot and I had the big fan off, so if you hear buzzing, that's just my cute little fan. It's off camera, but I do have a fan on, and let's just get into it. So the first book I finished was Never His Mate by Sarah Spade. I'm not going to be doing the big the whole screen is the book, just because I'd have to like open up each book separately, and because I'm doing it all in one take, I don't want to do that. So we have Never His Mate, and it is a rejected mate's shifter romance. Now in this rejected mate's shifter romance, he rejects her, so she leaves their mountain and goes to the vampire village at the bottom of the mountain, and she hides there for an entire year, and he cannot find her, and he's frantically looking for her, and it takes him a year to find her, and they have to kind of work through that rejection in order for their relationship to thrive. And it is a trilogy. I only read the first book this month, and there's like, it's an entire series, but the first 3 are on this couple, and I gave it 4 stars. So the next book I finished was Instacrush by Meader. It is a surprise pregnancy hockey romance. Just so we were all aware at the beginning, I do like reading surprise pregnancies. The pregnancy trope is not one that I hate. I kind of enjoy it. So if you don't want to read a book on pregnancy, the trope, the whole concept of it, this is the book you might want to skip. But in this, she comes from a family that isn't necessarily good. Like they do crimes together, and she wasn't very good at it growing up, and she kind of was raised into it, and so she wanted to do something completely opposite of it. So she joined the military. I'm not sure which branch she joined, but she definitely joined that to get away from her family to do some good. And then she was honorably discharged and started working at a bar. Her neighbor she's roommates with a hockey player, and his next door neighbor is on the same team as him. He's also a hockey player, and they kind of meet, kind of interacted during the holiday season, and she ended up getting pregnant, and they have to kind of navigate their relationship together through raising a kid together. And the kid doesn't come out until like closer to the end of the book, or the end of the book, so it's more working through her family troubles and kind of navigating how she had to be very independent, and he is very much, because of his own family trauma, has to work through all of that. I gave this 3 stars because while I do understand that his trauma made him like no secrets and things like that, the way he reacted to her secrets through certain parts of her secrets, I wasn't a huge fan of. she disappeared for a few days. She did say she was leaving, so it wasn't like she like completely ghosted him. And when he found her, he was very much angry and like yelling at her, and I didn't really like that, especially because like she didn't feel like she could go to him, and she thought it was like her problem to solve, and he was like, you can't keep secrets from me, and that part just made me feel a little like you need to work through your traumas too, and stuff. So I didn't really like that particular part of the book, but I did overall enjoy it, so 3 stars. Now the next book I read was Read to Me, which is a dark mafia romance. This to me kind of gave the vibe of a book talker actually meeting a mafia man. Like if a book talker who owned like a bookstore met, because she read a lot of dark romances and stuff, and she was like, she met a character in real life. That's kind of what the vibe of this book is, because he parked in her spot, so she was a little grouchy, and then she goes to him and says, hey, this is my spot, can you get out of my spot? And she does it with a little bit of an attitude, and so he kind of looks at her like, okay, and he does, I think he moves or he's about to leave, and so like, when she meets him up again, he's like in the middle of doing some criminal activity, and so he has to like make sure that she's not going to tell anyone, and the family will want him to eliminate her, but he decides not to because he kind of likes her spunkiness and kind of navigating through that. And something definitely happens, because like his dad is like the leader of the family, and it's like, I want you to do this, and kind of involves her family, and her dad reacts in a way that puts her in danger, and he has to like fix it. And so I enjoyed it. I gave it like, I think I gave it 3 stars. I did think like the part where like he wanted to step out away from his like dad, because his dad's like adopted all these kids to kind of create his little empire, and he wanted to step out away from his dad, but I feel like he stepped out a little too late. He stepped out after like his dad made him do the thing with her father, and it should have happened like before and kind of been more adamant about it, and that just kind of made everything go downhill from there. Or like just tell her up front certain things, I don't know, just 3 stars. And so the next book I finished is called Pursued, a vampire mafia paranormal romance. So it has paranormal and mafia, 2 of my favorite things together. And here is the cover. It's by Rebecca Rivard. And she fell in love with the vampire prince. He's going to be like the leader of the syndicate when his father either dies or steps down, and so she fell in love with him, and his father kind of paid her to go away, and so she leaves, and she thought it was for the best for him because of like all the things that comes with him being the family, and she didn't want to make him appear weak, so she kind of left. And so she's been on the run because she's also being chased by vampires within the syndicate, and she goes on the run because she almost dies several times, and that in the book kind of leading up to it. She's been on the run, and she gets caught, and she ends up having to become like a spy. Not really a spy, but she's kind of caught by like a member of the vampire family and within the city, and she's supposed to like kind of spy on him. They give her like spy gear, and she's not really supposed to like do like actual like looking around and sneaking around and stuff, but she's supposed to gather information on the prince because one of his brothers vanished, and he has to like, something's going on, someone's trying to take over. And again, like, you don't know who does it like until like the end, but to me there's kind of clues on who does it, because again, I'm very suspicious of any character. I don't want to say what level, what their rank is, but they're usually higher up in the ranks, and I'm like, I'm very suspicious of you. I'm very suspicious of you. Sometimes it's wrong, but a lot of times I'm right. And I'm like, I'm very suspicious of you. I don't think you are a great person. And so they have to navigate, like, because she's a human, he's a vampire, he decides to blood claim her. I don't know the technical term from the book, but claims her and basically ties them together, and only he can break the bond. And he does it because he is in love with her. He missed her this whole time, but he's kind of feels like she's up to something, and just like, there's no way you're leaving me again, because it was too hard the first time. I don't want to do it again. And so they kind of have to navigate that, the leaving, and for a long time she doesn't tell him why she left, and he's just like, why did you leave me? And she cannot answer. And in this world, vampires can compel humans, but he said he would never do that because it seems like a slippery slope, and like gaining trust, and you feel like that trust would be broken forever kind of thing. And so he doesn't compel her, but it takes her a while before she actually admits to what happened, and then he's very angry that happened, and having to confront the people who did that made her leave. And so I really enjoyed this book. 4 stars. Yeah. Okay, so the next book I finished was Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki. I'm sorry if I said the name wrong, but this is what it looks like. It is a graphic novel. It is an LGBTQIA plus graphic novel, YA, just so everything is all together. So in this, Freddie is dating Laura Dean, and whenever things kind of get serious, or a holiday comes up, Laura breaks up with her, and she's very sad about it, and her friends have to comfort her, and she is like, and then a few days later she will get back together with Laura. It's a very toxic back and forth, and they're like high school age, so it's like a lot of things going on. And Laura also keeps cheating on her, and she has to she writes letters to this advice column talking about all of her thoughts, and she gets emails from the advice author trying to help her figure out her own path herself, and she kind of has to like come to her own conclusion on ending this relationship. And she's kind of going back and forth, like, should she kind of loves her, and it hurts every single time she breaks up with her. And her best friend is also going through something, but she's never present with her because she's always thinking about Laura. And if she's good with Laura, she's a very terrible friend, and when things are bad with Laura, she is still thinking she's still a terrible friend, but it's like she's with her friends if she's not with Laura. And so she has to kind of decide what kind of person she wants to be, and ultimately ends up ending the relationship. I do just want to say that because, like, trying to become a better friend and stuff like that. I gave it 3 stars. I did not like the whole toxic relationship thing. It is I want to say it's a coming of age story, so it's a very important story to tell, especially with the LGBTQIA plus community. It's a very important story to tell. I just did not like that Laura was cheating on her and then would break up with her and then get back together with her. That whole cycle, I didn't like it. It made me feel like I would not have gone back to Laura, especially because not only did she cheat on her, she witnessed it happening, and then Laura would kind of play it off like, you're okay with it, right? And she has to like be like, yeah, because she doesn't want to lose that relationship with her. And I just didn't like that. But overall, the ending made it like, I was like, okay, this is good. Because I have to like remember that it's a YA and it's a coming of age story, and that's not my personal like reading preference. So having to like go into knowing that it's a coming of age story and they kind of have to work through certain issues and kind of become the person they want to become throughout the story and getting better as the story goes on. And that's why I liked it, because you just have to like know going in that it's coming of age and she does become a better person at the end. And so that's my thoughts on that. Next book. Okay, so the next book actually is a physical book, and I did a haul on my reading channel where I talked about this book and how I'm going to give a review for it in this video. Promises and Pomegranates by Sav R. Miller. Beautiful cover. I love this cover. This book is stunning. But this, I'm not going to say it is a Hades and Persephone retelling. I want to say it's a Hades and Persephone inspired story, where like he calls her Persephone and he kind of views himself as Hades, not necessarily as like they are the same people. They are the same embodiment of Hades and Persephone. So I do want to say that. And this, I would definitely check your triggers before reading this. It's a dark romance. Definitely would check. It starts off with her supposed to be marrying this one person, and she ends up having to marry, his name is Cal, and he takes her from Boston to this little island, not too far from Boston, but they get on a plane to go there, and to basically his like little underworld, like his little realm that he kind of rules over, because he owns not really the town, but he donates money to the people in the town, and they kind of let him do whatever he wants, kind of thing, because they kind of owe him. And yeah, and so she's very lonely there, and they kind of have, and he is trying to get out of the mafia business. He wants to just kind of retire because he was trying to get money from his paternal grandfather, not for himself, but to give to his half-sister, because she's going through some financial problems, and he wants to help her because he wants to build a connection. He wants a family because his mother died when he was like 13, and he's been trying to find that family connection ever since, because his father like rejected him before he was born, and then when his mother died, rejected him again, and still does not recognize his existence. And so he was basically, he's looking for a family, and he found family in the wrong people, and that's her parents. And things happen that we have to remember that he was trying to find family, and so there's a part, you're rightfully upset, but also he's also a victim in that. So I gave it 4.5 stars. There's one part that I was not a huge fan of, but I overall really enjoyed the book. Like, certain name calling is like fun in the heat of the moment, but there's one word that I'm just like, I don't like that. and it's when he calls her the B word. It's one time, it's closer to the end of the book, but I don't like it personally. That's just like the personal preference. It's not like it's a bad, takes away from the story at all. It's just that one moment in time. But yeah, I really enjoyed the book, and I cannot wait to read the other two in the series. Okay, so the next and last book that I finished this month was Heartstopper 2, a graphic novel by Alice Oseman. Now, this is what, like, right, I'm not sure how the last one ended versus how this one began, but in this one, they're kind of navigating like the beginning of their relationship. What are their names? Nick and Charlie are kind of navigating like the start of them seeing each other, and Nick is not sure if he wants to come out or what his labels are, and still trying to figure it out. And I really liked that Charlie was okay with it and kind of said, you don't have to have a label right now, and if you're just still trying to figure yourself out, that's cool. Very accepting and very loving, and I really enjoyed reading this portion, this part 2. I liked that we got to see them just like hanging out and chilling, and because I don't know if how the first one ended. I know that they kissed and like he was very sad because he kind of disappeared afterwards, but I think they kind of talked it over at the end of that one. And this one just kind of, they're like vibing, they're chilling, they're dating, and it's cute, it's fun. And I don't know the guy's name, but I don't like that character. And I do want to say there's a slur in it, and just for like, so that everyone knows, I'm going into it, a little bit of homophobia in there, and kind of having to like really, again, it's coming of age, so him like learning about sexuality and how he feels about Charlie, and telling other people his feelings and coming out. It's very sweet. I really like this book. 5 stars. But that is all the books that I finished this month. I managed to read 7 books. Not too bad if I say so myself. I started so many books this month and throughout the year that I have not finished. And so in September, that is my goal. My goal is to finish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books that are e-books, and 3 physical books that I've had that I've already started reading. And so those are my goals to finish this month. And yeah, let me know in the comments your favorite books that you read this month, your ratings, what books you read, how many books you read, all the things down in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification notified when I upload. Try to upload on Tuesdays on this channel, Fridays on my movie channel, and Sundays on my reading channel. And until next time, drink some water, eat a snack, play with a fidget toy, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!